I want to jump back and talk about some of my important things here because it's really important that we talk about some very serious issues. And the first one is we need to talk about is making London safe. We saw this headline earlier, and this comes from The Express, and I'll read it out to you again. London double stabbing horror. Police rush to scene as man killed in brutal street attack. This is yet another murder on Sadiq Khan's watch. He's had over 100 teenagers murdered in the streets of London, and it happens every single week. I think it was 3 weeks ago, we had 16 stabbings in one weekend in London, and yet when you listen to the mayor, he doesn't say anything about it because his record on knife crime is horrendous. And I want to play for you a short video that we created that just highlights some of just a few of the many failings when it comes to Sadiq Khan's record on crime and violent crime. Every single year in the past 5 years, violent crime has gone up. It's up 28.5% since he started 5 years ago. And if you choose to keep him as mayor on May 6th, it's going to go up and up and up. I have children that have to walk around the streets. The truth is there's teenagers out there right now that are so scared that they feel like they have to carry a knife. And when that's the case, someone has failed. And I think it's the mayor of London who needs to take responsibility. Here is a video highlighting some more of the mayor's failures.
Our current mayor of London has failed us. Our city is no longer safe. Our citizens walk the streets in constant fear.
Knife crime is going up. People are dying. 2 people in London in the last few days.
Just weeks ago, the 100th teenager was murdered since Sadiq Khan took office.
The reality, Sadiq Khan, these numbers haven't just edged up, they have rocketed up. And people now are waking up every day thinking, is my child going to get stabbed in the street?
Last year, knife crime rose by 38%, and murders have reached an 11-year high. Our current mayor campaigned on promises to make our streets safer, yet our capital now has the highest rate of knife crime in the country, more than double the average for England and Wales.
In the last 5 days, 4 people, including 3 young men, have been stabbed to death in your city on your watch. Why is it not fair to say that you are failing in your mission?
Recently, the overall murder rate in London surpassed that of New York City for the first time in modern history. Even Sadiq Khan has admitted that his poor performance on knife crime has left him sleepless. But it is us who are growing tired of his excuses, as children admitted to hospital with stab wounds has soared by 93% in 5 years. Sadiq Khan promised to get tough on violent crime. Sadiq Khan promised to focus on knife crime. Sadiq Khan promised to make London safer. But he has failed on all of these promises.
Blah, blah, blah. It's all good words, but if people are getting stabbed on an almost daily basis to death.
Instead, the current mayor blames the government, while our children are dying in the streets. Londoners deserve better. We deserve a safer city where we can raise our children out of harm's way. We deserve a city where our citizens can walk the streets free from danger. We deserve a city free of the fear of knife crime. To do this, we need to take London in a new direction. We need real leadership. We need more and better trained police. We need new community-led crime prevention strategies to address the causes of knife crime, not just the horrific results. It's time to make London safe again. My name is Brian Rose, and as your next mayor, I plan to make London a world-class city once again.
And there he is, your current mayor of London, Sadiq Khan, and his record on knife crime. It's killing our teenagers in the streets, and it's happening every few days. We see another one happening, and he hasn't said a word about it as he's now campaigning for re-election. He has not addressed a single time his horrendous record on knife crime, And I just wish he would be honest about the facts and at least tell us that he has some type of plan or solution, but he's got nothing to address this, which means it's going to get worse and worse and worse unless we do something about it. I have a plan to do something about it, and let me talk about some of those plans right now. As you could probably see from the video we played earlier, on the Cromwell Road, one of my outdoor ads talks about how I plan to make London safe, and let me give you the details. I plan to put 10,000 new police officers on the streets. Let me repeat that. 10,000 new police officers on the street, and I've fully costed that. That's going to cost £300 million per year, and I know exactly how to pay for that, which makes me different than any other candidate, because it's one thing to throw numbers out there, it's another thing to know exactly how to pay for it. But it's not just that. We're also going to take the Metropolitan Police and we're going to better train them, and we're going to fully digitize the police. That means there are tremendous cost savings that can be unlocked by making the entire end-to-end process of policing fully digital. I have been speaking with senior members of the Metropolitan Police. They are the ones that have told me this will work. They have the ones that have helped me cost this entire strategy. And this is one of the ways we are going to make a dent on knife crime in this city. But it's not the only way, because putting more officers on the streets will help, but it's not the only solution, because we have to start where the problem starts, and that is with our communities. And a lot of times our young people, our youth in our communities, they don't have many options from the hours of 3:30 p.m. until the hours of 8:30 p.m. And I spoke recently at Tower Hamlets with a young woman who worked with young girls in the streets, and she said, Brian, these young women are being pushed and co-opted into these county line street gangs. And she said it's about 3:30 to 8:30 p.m., the time they leave school and the time when mom and dad get home. Those 5 hours are crucial. She said, if we can give them something to do, we can change this narrative. But right now, everything's closing. The current mayor has defunded community centers. He's sacked youth workers, and he's shut down all of the options that our young people have. And that's why I'm announcing my plan called Corporates for Communities. It's £100 million in private donations from large corporations like Amazon, Uber, Google, HSBC, and Barclays Bank that are going to give money to build and rebuild 250 community centers in every single borough of London. There is precedent for this incredible move. Former guest on London Real, Jamal Edwards, who's an MBE, who started himself off in Acton at one of these community centers where he learned how to do video and audio production, and he later created SBTV, his incredible £8 to £10 million multimedia channel that features so many incredible pop and grime artists. Jamal has actually raised hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars in corporate financing that he has pumped back into his local community centers in Acton. I am in conversations with Jamal to do this on a bigger scale, to raise £100 million and get this into 250 community centers. These are solutions. They have been fully costed. I can implement this on May 6th. All I need is for you to give me the power. And the truth is, neither the Labour Party nor the Conservative Party could ever conceive of such a solution, let alone implement it. And this is what you get when you vote for someone with 30 years of business experience. I bring a lens to this that looks at things differently. I look for solutions. I know how to hold people accountable, and I know how to balance a budget, whereas most politicians, they just ask for more bailouts and they raise your taxes. I think that's unacceptable. I love this city. I've lived here for 21 years. My children were born here. I plan on being buried in this great city. And so that's why I want to give back and make sure that everything is running correctly. And my two-pronged solution of 10,000 police officers and £100 million pumped into our communities are going to be what solves this knife crime crisis, and it is a crisis.